If you are a homeowner and you've lived in your house for the last 10 years, you are going to love what our next guest has to say. Mark Hite comes this morning always with an optimistic attitude, but you're turning back time.
We are turning back time. I didn't wear my Cher wig today, but yes, we're going to turn back the clock, Julie, 10 years to 2013.
Okay, but before we start, I want to say this to anybody watching who's going to hear what Mark has to say and maybe get a little bit disappointed at first because perhaps you're looking to buy a house right now and you've not been in your home for 10 years. The takeaway, moral of the story, is going to be that real estate always is a good investment.
Real estate always. Whether you look at 10 years, 30 years, real estate is always a great investment that is going to have a continuous appreciation scale.
Okay, so let's turn that clock back. If we could spin the wheel, we would, to 2013.
When the median price in the greater Chattanooga market was $139,900.
The good old days.
Short years ago. The good old days, that's absolutely.
Okay, and just for the point of reference, since you have so many numbers in your head, any idea what interest rates were like then?
So if you looked at the period running up to the Great Correction, what we saw was interest rates were 7 to 8% in 2005, 6, 7. And then the federal government got involved as part of the massive recession period. And we had $8,000 tax credits out there for first-time buyers. And they began to suppress interest rates, and we were in the mid-5s.
Okay. All right. So now you flash forward to today,
to
those
2013, 10 short years later, and we're at $321,900, Julie, from $139 to $321 in 10 short years.
Okay, so always investments are meant to strengthen your life, right? So you have money for the sake of using it to your benefit. If you were talking about a family recently with a second marriage, they kind of were going to blend into a new home of their own. What happened?
It's an amazing story because we met with the husband, or the fellow first. He had a house he'd owned for a number of years, talked about what he could sell it for, then met with the fiance, looked at her house. Julie, when they sell both of them, they can pay cash for their next house.
Right.
So they're not worried about interest rates or mortgage payments. We see every week, I get the joy of meeting with families and showing them they have more equity than they even imagine in most cases.
Okay, so I work with a lot of young people. I'm mother to young people. And I know that they hear things like this and they think, I not only can I not afford $321,000, I'm not so sure I want to spend $321,000 on a house that I might not be in love with. Your point, though, is you have to have somewhere to live. And the market is not going to really see any big changes anytime soon.
That's what the next graph shows. This 10-year cycle has been gradual and steady. And so go ahead, get the home that you need now for your family, and expect to see normal appreciation in the coming years. That investment's going to grow, and each month, rather than you making a rent payment and paying somebody else's mortgage, you're building equity. If you're thinking that prices are going to decline, unfortunately, they're not.
And at least your mortgage is fixed.
That's exactly right. And you know, the Fed yesterday announced they were not raising interest rates. They're going to remain steady. The term I heard yesterday was higher for longer. We're not going to see rates roll back rapidly. And when they do, they're never going to be 4% again, because that was when the federal government was desperately trying to incentivize the economy.
Okay, so let's just say, I only have a couple of minutes left, but let's say somebody comes to you and they're a buyer. And they say, okay, Mark, I can afford, I'm going to make up a number, and I'm going to say $350,000, but I don't want to spend a penny over it. You're going to then get to know them, though, and make sure that they're also getting a house that will give them easy maintenance for a while, right? So that they're not having an unexpected expense. Because
that's the part of having a representation, having an advocate if you're buying, because we're going to look not only at the pricing and that you're paying a fair price, but we're going to get inspections, making sure there are no hidden surprises. And Julie, we need inventory at all price points. I mean, listen up. If you live on Signal Mountain or know somebody who lives on Signal Mountain, right now I need a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home. Families coming in December, relocation. There are buyers out there ready to buy. So whether you're a first-time buyer or you're a fourth-time buyer, this is still a great time to go ahead and invest in a home.
And if you're lucky enough to have been in your house for a number of years, be thankful for that this Thanksgiving season. And if you are looking to buy a house, don't despair, because there really are ways to do it out there.
Absolutely.
You could start, if you want to, by calling Mark. I'll give you his number. It's 265-0088, or the direct line there, 667-9385, always at markhitehomes.com. And if you're not following him on social media, do, because he's always putting stuff out there about what's coming down the pike. Good to see you.